Hello, I'm here just drawing, kind of being quiet. Don't have a whole lot to say right now, but we're working on a sketch image of a robot that is picking blackberries. And I thought this would be kind of fun to do because of, I think there used to be a phone called a Blackberry. So I just wanted to depict a robot picking blackberries and where the name could have come from. Gosh, I made the finger kind of long. I made the finger kind of long. Goodness sakes, that's supposed to be the finger, and I made it really, really long. Okay, well, we're going to leave it like that then, because I'm using pen. And so I'm just drawing a bunch of little tiny circles in here. We're showing some precision blackberry picking. That looks pretty darn good. I like that. So I've got the little blackberry there. The robot has it right in its little tentacles, in its robot tentacles, and it's attached to this bush right here. It's plucking blackberries. And I had, oh my gosh, my grandpa had the best blackberry bush. He would go picking blackberries every year. They're actually purple though. The blackberries were purple, and I couldn't figure out why they were called blackberries. I think it was because they were just because they looked black, but they were actually purple. They were a purplish blue color. So if you've ever lived around a blackberry bush, you're going to find out they're a purplish blue color. There are blueberries, and I think some people maybe have been calling the blueberries and the blueberry jam and stuff like that. Hello, Coco Girl P6. Hello. Okay, so let me work on the rest of the mid section here of the robot that is picking. It's picking fruits, is what it's doing. And robots literally can pick fruits. Okay, so okay. So so let me see if I can fix this a little bit. It looks kind of, right here, it looks a little bit funny to me, but I'm going to do the best that I can here and see if I can't. There, that'll work. That'll work. I kind of messed it up a little bit, but it's working. And so now I've got my robot here picking the blackberry right here. Do we have, yep, we do have a mouth. I'm going to put a tiny little mouth right here. We're going to put a tiny little smiley face. We're going to put up a little tentacle back here. An antenna, actually. I mean, and who knows what this robot will become in the future. We're going to put on a great big, I should have made it look like a blueberry. I still can, actually. I think I will. I'm going to make it look like a blueberry. Okay, we've got that on there, like that. But I want to draw more of my leaves and bushes and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to take, do we have thistles on here? It kind of looks like we might have thistles on here. So I'm going to draw this down like this. And I'm going to take this down like this. So we're picking things for, And this is the, well, this time of year is probably kind of hot in the United States because a lot of gardens this time of year kind of tend to wilt because it's so hot and there may not be as much water. Some places will get more water than other places, as we see with some of the flooding that we've had. Okay, so I've got a few now with these, depending on where you're at, and in probably every state, you're going to want to kind of shake the bush a little bit before you put your hands in there to get all the creepy, crawly critters out. Typically, your hands, when you put them in there, um, should scare away little critters and creatures. But just to be on the safe side, get a little stick or something, stick it in the bush, and just shake all the little critters out. So if you have snakes and bugs and things like that, put it into your bush and shake it out so that all the bugs go away. These could even be raspberries too, because right now I have no color on them. And so, at any time with this type of image, we can translate it to any type of berry. Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna do another berry out this direction, right there like that. Okay, we need to put some more of you guys in here a little bit closer together, like that. There, that one, that's a little bit better. I like that a little bit better. Okay, let's add a little bit more mechanical looks in here. I'm adding just a little bit of lines to make it look more mechanical. And I'm going to add another line up here like that. Now I did say I was going to make this look like a blueberry, and I do. I want to make this look like a blueberry on his head. There, he's got a blueberry on his head. He's picking blueberries and blackberries, which blueberries and blackberries are kind of the same thing, because when you look inside of a blueberry, the juice is the same. Okay, and so let's make some leaves here. My goodness. Sometimes I think that airports, they all take off their airplanes all at the same time. Hello, Lone Wolf. Yeah, they all take off all at the same time. Have you guys noticed that? That like when you're doing a live stream and listening to videos, or when someone else is doing a live stream, that you literally can hear someone who is in a foreign nation or in a different state from you, and there's airplanes all taking off at the same time. It's quite the quantum computing. The quantum computing is what I always call it, because I think they all have them scheduled to take off about the same time so that they match up with their other flights. Even though there is delays, the airport has always had delays. I always found that funny. Now in hindsight, I shouldn't say funny. It's not funny, but it's normal. And it kind of teaches us that things change. I know it taught me. It's that thing of, okay, well, we got to wait a little bit for something. Oh, I should do a, let's see if I can do a highlight. I don't know. Do I still have, yes. I should have been quiet. For me, it's always, I always try to like make my highlights where I'm not blabbering, but I think I failed on this one. And so, yeah, this past few years has been um, quite educational, related to um, showing, calling out those who are in the wrong of doing things that not for the betterment of helping others. Um, I like this. Oh my goodness, I like this a lot. And then I have my own drawing, so when I go to put it in, I always liked the idea of being able to share things, try to share things for a reason. And so, because I kind of felt like, well, I agreed with the advertising when they said that, well, there is such a thing as too much advertising. I was one of the people who completely agreed with that. But I didn't want to lose my own income. So data centers are using a lot of water to keep the data centers from overheating. Um, well, you know what, though? I have an idea for the data centers, actually. Because the data centers, that can be twofold. You know what? I mean, this is just a theory on my part that the data centers. Well, I've deleted my content so that I've deleted old channels and content for the purposes of not taking up too much space. Um, the robot, yes, the robot gardener. It's a content gap. It's a big content gap, isn't it? The robot gardener. And so I'm not completely convinced about the data centers because of the fact that we've had utility centers, electricity. Does electricity require water? Has it in the past? But yeah, that's true. The data storage centers do require a place to store this data and transfer it. I will agree with that. So I know Google has put a lot of things out that the more storage we have, that the more data centers we need if we're going to just keep stuff up. That's why I go towards the shorts right now. Um, I will make long videos, but I'm not afraid to delete long videos though either, as long as we get to keep our views. But right now it's kind of challenging. For example, with analytics, I've deleted. It's hard to see what my analytics are. I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter. I shouldn't focus on views so much, really. That's what I'm thinking. I need to just not focus on the views, but I'm still, I don't get paid to do this anymore, so at least I'm in a place of being able to do this again, not get paid to do it, and not feel like I have to chase and keep up with someone else. That's the thing for me. I don't have to chase and keep up with someone else. I don't want to. I don't want to follow someone else. related to, if that's something they want to do, they can have the top dog seat. I'm not interested in chasing. I've already done that, and it's just not the competition. When the competition becomes spiteful and hateful, I'm not interested in that. And so that doesn't make a person feel good, and I'm just not interested in that because it carries out into a lot of places. And so I like to do the Bob Ross kind of thing, the Mr. Rogers neighborhood kind of thing, where we go back to some of our basics of maybe we get some kindness back again one day, and instead of undertones. And unfortunately, there are some right now who are doing undertones because I don't know why they're doing undertones, but they are. A small act of kindness, you remember. A small, try it, a small act of kindness, I remember. Does anyone have I won't leave this up here long. I'm just going to leave it up there for a little bit. Let's add that up there. Q&A. A small act of kindness, you remember. We'll try to put it right somewhere. Uh-oh, it's covering up the drawing. Well, let's see here. On YT, I've noticed it's basically content creators versus content creator. There's always going to be drama on YouTube no matter what community you come across. Yeah, that's true. That's true. YouTube is not that bad right now at all. There was a lot of people who were angry, and they got it out of their system. And I can't even say that they were angry. They were just expressing things that were important in their life about their needs not getting met. We all have a right to be angry about that. And so, now the problem is when someone starts harassing people in real life over being a channel that shows their face. That's where the problems come in. So if you were well known, and so the thing is, it's like, unfortunately, for some people in places where this has happened to, then they're known in the places they're at, and then they're still mean to them. They're still mean to them. It's like, oh, look, I have my job doing gig work, working for someone else, cleaning up trash, even though they're not being completely truthful. They might be working for some travel and tourism, or working for some parks and recreation or something like that in the gig economy. And so they want to throw that in your face. It's like, oh, look, I can get a retail job. Now, it's like, well, I've already done retail, or I've already done this. And, so I feel I have empathy for people who do hospitality retail right now because of how crappy some of the employees are to the other employees, and how crappy the customers are, especially if you have to deal with the they call them the passport bros. The passport bros are terrible. They're nasty, and they curse at people. They come in the United States, and it's kind of like, well, gosh, it's like, we're not from this country. We're gonna just sling out all kinds of names because we've seen this on YouTube, we've seen this on TV, and we think this is how people really treat each other. And they do. Some of them do. They're disgusting. They're not nice to women. And, I mean, I can't tell you how negative they are. It's like, for me, I am one who just wants to do stuff like this. I don't want to be involved with something I have no control over, and I don't. There's a lot of things I've already said that. I've gone into these deep discussions, and it's like, I'm pretty much done with them. Even though I'll talk to people, they are wanting to talk now. And that's the thing I find confusing. Now, someone did tell me this about, I think it was about 4 months ago. Someone came on a live stream to me and another person, and they said, I need to tell you something. The two of you are going to be getting a whole lot of friends right now. And I was thinking, really? We're going to be getting a lot of friends? I wonder what that means. And it's turned out to be true. So if we stick around, so other people who are kind of like me, who are just wanting to do stuff, and uh, yeah, we're gonna. I have maybe that other person could be who I think it is. I'm not positive. I'm just not. I don't know. Um, but I thought it was funny. The two of you are going to be getting a whole bunch of new friends right now. Yeah, the YouTube thing. You know, the thing I was thinking about with the YouTube thing. I for the most part, I never had anybody just out and out being cold, spited, mean. Disney was the only one who was mean to me. Disney was the only one when they did what they did, and um, it's like, okay, I'm not part of a network. I have a right to talk about what you guys are doing that's bad practices, and you're attacking me. Yeah, Disney was the only one who was ever mean to me for the most part. But then that filtered into real life. So then the Disney cast members then who lived in the area and people from the local area, even politicians become mean to me. And it's like, well, why are you guys trying to take me down? I am nobody. I'm just an individual person. And it's like, well, wait a minute. So this is the government turning against its own people, turning against the constituents, and that's what's happened. I always said that. It's like, well, I didn't understand. It's like, well, um, why would the government turn against their own constituents? And so I think finally someone may have talked to a mayor possibly and said, well, you should go out there and see what's going on. You're talking about something. You have no idea what's going on. And maybe he learned that he hurt himself worse than anything. And people remember that, humans have the memory of an elephant, and humans are always typically, even though humans don't have all the answers, collectively we fill in the pieces for each other. And the truth is there. The truth just surfaces itself just like the sun every day, just like the light every day. The truth surfaces itself, and the conclusions that we have made are all still there. And the guilty parties are the ones who do the biggest, loudest crying about things, the ones who are the most guilty. And it's like, well, okay, you guys go on and cry about what you're causing the problem, and you're crying about the problem at the same time. And so there's nothing I can do about it anymore. I never could to begin with, and they know what the problems are. They know they are the problem. And I know it sounds like I'm doing double speak, which in some senses I am, to avoid being directly talking about things. And that's done intentionally to avoid talking about things and things that I don't support. So that's why I kind of reference the blueberries and but raspberries are nice. They're nice and sweet. Isn't that? I saw a joke recently on TikTok, and what it said was, it said, someone told me I was thirsty and to go. Oh, what was it? They said they wanted. Oh, they said that they wanted something sweet, and someone told them to go eat an apple, and they said, "Well, I wanted to eat a chocolate bar." And I thought, it's the same difference with fruits. You know, okay, I'm thirsty, and then someone tells you, go eat a blueberry, right? Same difference. And I know my mom, the doctor told my mom to do that when we were kids. When to, I remember when she was potty training us because we were having issues with going, older. And either I just remember things from when I was really young or I was older. I don't remember which one it is. But I know my kids were not potty trained until over the age of 3. A lot of people wanted to force that on their kids when they were younger to have them potty trained at a way younger age. I never did that with my kids. And so I learned, and so my mom was taking us to the doctor saying, well, that we should have been potty trained like by the age of 18 months because they had that on TV. And I think that's a disservice to parents and to kids to say that kids should be potty trained at such a young age. I think that's terrible. And then some people are like, oh, my baby was potty trained at 1 year old. Yeah, to go in the diaper. If that's the case, it was potty trained to go in the diaper. That's what babies do. They go in the diaper. And and um, so it's like my mom's generation of parents was conditioned and trained that kids should be potty trained at a very young age. And maybe that's not always the case. And the more you try to force it on kids, the harder it is because then they're just feeling like they're not doing things right. It's like they can't please, the doctor. They can't please. And why would a kid want to go to the doctor? It's operant conditioning to tell a child, it's like, okay, because you're wetting the bed. Now, the doctor told my mom, this is what he told my mom. So they probably paid a lot of money to get this advice. Well, eat an apple. That will give you some water. And so the doctor said the rationale behind that was, and I remember this. It's like I'm a kid. Why is it I remember this? So the rationale is there's water in the fruit. And so then that slows down the water just going through your body a whole lot faster. That's the purpose of it, to slow the water down from going through a lot faster. So that's the purpose of eating an apple. Not necessarily for the sweet, but fruits are sweet. All fruits are sweet. All fruits are very sweet. Most of them. Even a tomato, you can get water from a tomato. And so that's why when people talk about eating things, well, that's why birds. Now look at birds. They're eating berries all the time. We should have put a bird on here maybe. But they're eating berries all the time and they're going all the time, going to the toilet all the time. Even cows. Cows are eating grass. And look at how big cows are, though. That's the thing about cows I find kind of fascinating, how big cows have gotten. Um, because they're huge. And they're basically vegetarians for the most part. I think wild cows and, well, look at buffalo. My goodness sakes, buffalo are really huge. The wild ones even are huge. And I can't imagine that anyone is giving them, even elephants are vegetarians, and look at how big they are. So, yeah, maybe there's something about the sugars that we do need the sugars, and there's a lot of misinformation that's coming from control freaks who are selling products that nobody's interested in. I think that could be the case. Very well could be. Okay, let me see if okay, where is my thing at here? I want to put on all messages. All messages. Okay. Okay, I did miss a message here, didn't I? Lone Wolf says, if Elon picked you out of all the women in the world, what? If Elon picked me, I am not getting married to Elon Musk. I am not getting married to Elon Musk. Why would Elon pick me out? If Elon picked you out of all the women in the world, um, I am not getting married to Elon Musk. If that's what you're talking about, Lone Wolf, that's not going to happen. Um, if Elon wanted to sweep you off your feet, I can't be bought. I'm not going to be bought. Elon, you know what, Elon? If Elon Musk did this, he is going to have to. He's going to have to be of the understanding that I am a blabbermouth. He he would have to know this, that I'm a blabbermouth. So if he has things that he wants to keep private, he would, and I don't think Elon Musk would do this anyway, but he would have to be of the understanding that I'm a blabbermouth. So, and if I saw bad practices in his companies, I can't keep that quiet. I just can't. Um, oh, felon. When I say felon Musk, Felon. You like how I say it, felon Musk? Or Elon. Or like Elon as in a lawn. An electric lawnmower. Elon like that. Or Musky Elon. Musky lawn. How you pronounced Elon. Elon? Like a lawn? A mowing lawn? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, some people make a big deal about how his name is pronounced. Because I say Elon Musk. I've always said it that way, and I think other people have too. Some of the other ones, they get upset. They're like, "No, it's how is it they say it's Elon or I don't know. It does look like Ellen as well. Ellen Musk. I know. Then that's going to make somebody mad if you pronounce. I mean, my goodness, I've heard people literally get mad because of pronouncing Elon Musk's name wrong. And I'm thinking, are you having a bad day that you just want to argue about how to pronounce a name now? That is a pretty lame reason to get mad at somebody on how you pronounce a name. I had to get used to that with my name when I was a kid because my pastor, he knew how to pronounce my name, but he literally said it wrong. And he started spelling it wrong too. And oh, he might have did that on purpose, though. It could have been reverse psychology to see if I knew, because the thing is, confirmation class was very, very boring. So at the time I was going to confirmation class, then he started spelling my name wrong and pronouncing it wrong. I don't know, maybe he was looking for a conversation with us, I'm not sure, or to see if I could remember things. I just wasn't interested in church, though. And so, you call him Elon Muskrat. I've done that before, too. I've called him Elon Muskrat. I've called him Muskelon as like, I made a video. I made a little short video was it a year ago or longer than that? It might have been longer than that. I made a short. And what I made was a hole in front of a yard, and there was a bunch of musky fish in there, and I called it Musky Lawn. I don't know how easy it is going to be for me to find. Maybe it'll pop up, but it was just a big sinkhole. It had a bunch of musky fish in it, and I called it Musky Lawn because it was a big hole in the front yard with muskies in it in front of the lawn. And I thought, well, gosh, that's a fun word play I came up with there that nobody else has probably thought about. And it's really crazy, insane, but it works. Um, yeah, I know with the wordplay, Elon Muskrat. Um, you, I've accidentally called him Elon Must, like a musty, moldy old smell. That one can be fun too. Elon Musty Moldy, Elon Moldy Musty. Like a dirt smell. Let's see what else there is. People are messed up. That preacher did that on purpose. Mental games. Yeah, I was just a kid. You know what? I see the preachers on TikTok and YouTube every day. They do a lot of mental gymnastics. The preachers, I just do mental gymnastics with words and with messing things up, with wordplay, with flipping words around and making some funny meme out of it. Now, the pastors, they do things, they do mental gymnastics related to their own self serving purposes so that they can keep their church going. Now, they lose their business. If they don't have people who are attending their church, they lose their business. So they've turned church into a business model, a bona fide real business model. And they're doing it through media too. They still are. And, so the government has been discussing, I know they have. I haven't, I do see C-SPAN every once in a while, but I don't have a laptop computer right now to be able to do things like I did before. Thankfully, I'm very thankful I can still buy food. Food is important for me, and I need the means to be able to have food deliveries. Thankfully, I can still do that. But the things for me have become more challenging, and now I think for the certified public accountants who have turned what they do into a booming inflationary taxpayer funded tactic. I'd like to see them do their taxes on a cellular phone. I don't know if that's coming up for them, but I wonder how many of them can do that on a cell phone. Because I know for me, I'm not going to be able to do things without a laptop and without being able to get my mail. Um, they've just made things really difficult for me on purpose. And it's like, well, why are they doing this? Why is the government doing this on purpose? If it is the government, I think it's someone else, another entity who has just decided to use crappy people that I don't like. I don't want to be around them, and they still are inserting their presence like they're some kind of king. When they know full well we don't want to be around them. They're just being jerks is what they're being. I hope they get defunded here sooner than later, because I don't like them. Let's put one more blueberry out here. Oh, and it was so funny too that I watched Shark Tank. Um, I watched Shark Tank. Was it last? Yeah, last night. And they had the guy on who had the really short shorts. He was selling. What was it? He had a fascinating business. Well, it was a fireman actually, is what it was. Let's see here. What was the name of his business? It was, oh my gosh, now I can't remember what the name of his business was. I was going to write it down and then I forgot. Did I write it down here? Because I was going to look it up. Well, there was one that had a lip balm, and then another one that had a bag. The bag was FFTOB, and this is what they did. This is what I should show you what they did on my card. No, nobody's even listening. But I think I'm about done though anyway here. I think I'm about done. There, I think that looks pretty good.